to another episode of the Tombstone Tourist. For this episode, I'm back in Nashville, Tennessee. Actually, I'm just a few miles east of downtown Nashville at the Hermitage Memorial Gardens in Old Hickory, Tennessee. This is going to be the first of a couple of videos from this rather large cemetery that's just a couple of miles from the Hermitage, which was the home of President Andrew Jackson, who was known as Old Hickory. There are several country music personalities resting here, along with a few other notable people. So let's get started, see how many we can find. We're going to begin our visit by making our way around the Memorial Circle to Section A in the northeast corner of the cemetery. Here, we're going to pay our respects to the man known as the Texas Troubadour, the great Ernest Tubb. Ernest Dale Tubb was born on February the 9th, 1914 in the tiny community of Crisp, Texas. As a youth, Ernest worked with his father on the cotton farms throughout the area. In his spare time, Ernest taught himself how to play the guitar and adopted the style of his idol, the great Jimmie Rodgers, learning how to sing and yodel. By the time he was 20, Ernest was working and singing at a radio station in San Antonio, Texas. But the pay was so low that Ernest had to take other jobs like working for the Work Progress Administration and clerking at a local drugstore. Ernest was devastated when his idol Jimmie Rodgers died in 1933. A few years after his death, Ernest contacted Jimmie's widow, and over time, a friendship developed. That friendship led to Ernest signing his first recording contract with RCA. In 1940, he moved from RCA to Decca Records, where he wrote a song that would be recorded for the first time on April 26, 1941. Decca released I'm Walking the Floor Over You a month later. It quickly became a hit, selling over 1 million copies, and it would become Ernest Tubb's signature song. On the heels of Walking the Floor, Ernest joined the Grand Ole Opry in 1943. Almost every Friday and Saturday night, Ernest Tubb and his Texas Troubadours would appear on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, performing such hits as Filipino Baby, Waltz Across Texas, and Rainbow at Midnight. In 1947, Ernest opened the Ernest Tubb Record Shop at 417 Broadway, almost directly across the street from the Ryman Auditorium. On May 31st, 1947, Ernest began hosting the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree from a small stage inside the record shop. The Midnight Jamboree was broadcast every Saturday night following the Opry on WSM. It became the second longest running radio show in the world, second only to the Grand Ole Opry. We'll talk more about the record shop and the Midnight Jamboree in just a few minutes. Ernest enjoyed a career that spanned almost 40 years and became one of country music's most beloved stars. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1965. Throughout much of the last 20 years of his life, Ernest suffered from emphysema. The disease forced Ernest to cut back on his touring and eventually retire. He made his last appearance on the Grand Ole Opry on August 15, 1982. 2 years later, on September 6, 1984, the old Texas Troubadour passed away at the age of 70. Just a few steps away is the grave of Ernest's oldest son, Justin Tubb, who, like his father, enjoyed success as a country music singer and songwriter. Justin was born August 20th, 1935 in San Antonio, Texas, and as a youngster became a fixture backstage at the Grand Ole Opry. In 1954, Justin signed with Decca Records, where he recorded his first hit, Looking Back to See. He followed that up with Surefire Kisses, and a year later, Justin joined his father and became a member of the Grand Ole Opry. When not performing on the Opry, Justin often joined his father on the road and was a partner in many of Ernest's business ventures, including the Ernest Tubb Record Shop and Midnight Jamboree. After Ernest's death in 1984, Justin saw to it that the record shop and Midnight Jamboree continue to be a fixture in downtown Nashville and on WSM. Justin Tubb passed away in Goodlettsville, Tennessee at the age of 62 on January 24th, 1998. On a personal note, my favorite Justin Tubb song was What's Wrong with the Way We're Doing It Now. The song was not popular with some of the more progressive country music performers, and a number of radio stations refused to play it. But as a fan of traditional country music, I can tell you, there's nothing wrong with the way people like Roy Acuff, Hank Williams, and Ernest Tubb did it. Several times in this video, I have mentioned the Ernest Tubb Record Shop. So, let's head on down to 417 Broadway in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. And here we are at the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, just across the street from Tootsie's and the Ryman Auditorium. There's a strict policy of no video inside the store, but they did allow me to take a few pictures. So let's look around. Just as you walk in the front door, you're greeted by this life-size statue of the old Texas troubadour himself. Here on this small stage was where the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree took place every Saturday night following the Grand Ole Opry. At one time or another, everybody who played the Opry walked across the street and played the Midnight Jamboree from this small stage. Throughout the record shop, there's artifacts from the golden era of country music, like these stage suits worn by some of the biggest stars in country music. A few weeks after my visit to the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, it was announced that after more than 70 years, they would be closing for good. The building has been sold and will be redeveloped. A Nashville and country music landmark will be forever left to our memory. And with that, I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed my visit to the graves of Ernest and Justin Tubb, along with one last brief look at the Ernest Tubb Record Shop. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. I try and upload a new video at least once a week, so if this is your first time here and want to be notified when I post a new video, be sure to ring that bell and subscribe. For now, just remember, life is a wonderful journey. Take time and enjoy it. And I'll see you down the road. So long, everyone.